Hey guys, it's Dymond and I am finally back with another episode of Dear Dymond. You guys have been wanting and waiting for another episode of this for a while. So I am back at it again with the advice for y'all. I have everything on my phone, all y'all emails. If you want to submit your advice or your questions, whatever your situation, to be possibly answered on Dear Dymond, you can email the email in the description box. No other email will get your story / question, whatever you need advice on this segment, except for the email that is for it, which will be in the description box. So make sure you email that email if you want to be possibly featured. Everything is going to remain anonymous. So yeah, let's just jump right in. I have picked 5 emails from here. Basically, I went through and read a couple of them and I just chose 5.
Hey girl, so I need your help. The other day you posted a video vlog about not having friends. Then yeah, y'all definitely ain't friends. What the hell? If you want to keep making a comment about everything I say, I'm going to check you about every comment you make. You feel me? This next subject is tired of hiding it coming out. Then you should ask Grandpa John why is he interested in you in the first place there. But, you know, maybe you want to explore like some different options other than him. I'm here for it.
Dear Dymond, I'm 16 years old and gonna be a junior in high school. I live in Las Vegas and my brother recently moved out not long ago again. Me and him have never gotten along and always fought. Every time we fight, he always brings up personal issues like my past with cutting, depression, and struggling with an eating disorder. Even though his bullying was a cause of me viewing my body the way I do. Plus, he's a fucking bum, living in and out of our parents' house, stealing their shit and just being a bum. He's in his mid-20s. I've resorted to telling people we're not siblings because he's honestly disgusting. He's a pussy too. I always want to throw hands, but he knows I'll whoop that ass like I have before. I'm also gay and me and my parents have gone at it too. My dad doesn't care about me anymore and my mom says she does, but always picks on me and says, "You're a man, act like one." Should I mention we are Mexican as fuck and they're really old school? She always lets my brother be slick and talk shit about me in front of her, and she lets him, and my daddy issues, my cutting, etc. And that's what heats me up. This has been going on since I was about 13. They've called the cops on me. I've left home with their permission. I've debated leaving after I graduate and never speaking to them again. But I love my mom so much because she's given up so much for me. But I have a feeling that she wouldn't care because she would have just swept me under the rug like our other gay family members. Please give me guidance on how to not kill my brother, LOL, and mend the relationship with my mom. From this email, I think that this is a male. This is also something that's really important. I know a lot of young people struggle with depression and like cutting, bullying, and stuff like that. I can relate to this in the way that I didn't have a good relationship with my mom. Probably not as drastic as anything like this, but first of all, let me say that I hope you're not still cutting yourself or going through an eating disorder or anything like that, especially if it's based on these people, because that would just be horrible. I feel like people, a lot of the times, they let their family's views and like their family's opinions really get them down on themselves and really make them hate themselves. And I'm not gonna say you shouldn't care about your family's opinion and that you shouldn't care about what your family has to say, but when it comes to being who you are, you have to do that. Nobody else is gonna go through your world, through your day, like in your shoes. You have to do that. So that is why I kind of to not care about your family's opinion, because you are born into your family. You don't get to choose. We don't have a choice of who we're born into. And like how you mentioned, your family's really old school and you're very Mexican, which I believe that's in reference to a lot of people say Mexican people are just super traditional because a lot of Mexicans are Catholic. So it's just super traditional, like, and they're really very strict. So when it comes to being gay in a traditionally Mexican family, it's all bad. I can understand that. I'm black. I know Mexicans, they definitely go and they say like, you know, well, we're Mexican, it's different. I think that is kind of similar to being black. Black people, a lot of black people unfortunately are still not too fond of the LGBT community. So when it comes to them, you being LGBT in a black family, it's kind of the same, you know, and I definitely understand the struggle. Unfortunately, I have to say that you say that your mom, she says she loves you and things like that. I feel like if she really loved you, if she really saw what she was doing with just her words or just her behavior, that she would not do that, because that deeply affects you to the point where you're depressed and having eating disorders and cutting yourself, which all of those things will inevitably lead to death. You know, if it keeps going, it's gonna lead to like something bad happening to you. And I cannot say that if I cared about somebody, I would continue to do things that would inevitably hurt them. Like, for sure it's gonna hurt them in the end. I would say if it is gonna continue this way, you should move out as soon as you possibly can. I wouldn't say put yourself in like a bad situation. So if you can't move out or anything, unfortunately, as bad as it is, as sad as it is, we have to deal with these things when we're young and we're in our parents' house. If they don't agree with what you're doing or what you're saying, they can simply not agree, and it has to be that way if you don't have another way out, if you don't have an outlet. And a lot of us don't. All I can reference to is when me and my mom had disagreements. Like you guys know, I live in Las Vegas. I didn't have anybody to go to. I didn't have nothing. All I had to do was sit and deal with it. And it sucks. But if it comes to your parents not allowing you to get through to them, not wanting to hear it, not wanting, all you could do is continue to be yourself, because you have to do that. That's, you know, nobody's gonna be you except for you. So you have to walk throughout the day and be yourself. And if they don't accept it, or if they don't want to get with it, I would say as soon as you can leave and don't look back. And since you are younger, I would definitely start putting yourself in a position to do that. Doing that will help you take your mind off of the things that you have going on, because you have a goal. And this is me speaking from my point of view. You going through hell, but if you have a goal, like in just this amount of time, I'm gonna have this money and I'm gonna be able to leave, or I'm gonna get this job so that I can get this car so I don't have to be around these people, or I'm gonna get this job and get this car, and then I'm gonna save my money, and in no time I'm gonna be able to get a house and leave these people. Like, I would honestly channel my energy into something like that to get away, because I'm gonna be honest, not every situation can be mended. I don't think that every situation can be mended. And depending on how much damage has already been done, and depending on if people are willing to apologize, if people are willing to stop their behavior and change. If not, then you gotta go and do what you gotta do. Hopefully you have somebody you could talk to, not just me and these dear diamonds, you know. Find somebody to talk to so that you're not cutting yourself, so that you're not depressed, so that you're not having eating disorders and stuff while you have to deal with it, because unfortunately you don't get to pick your family. You're just stuck there. And it sucks, but that's just how it is. So my advice to you would to try to find a positive coping method, as hard as it may seem. Please don't continue to do dangerous things to yourself, because even if all this stuff is going on, I'm sure that if your family lost you, that they would be very upset. And even if not your family, there's people outside of your family that care about you and that don't want you to be doing those things to yourself. So please find a positive method of coping just in the meantime, because I promise you, it won't always be this way. And if your family is the reason that makes you feel the way that you feel to do those things, then I feel like if they're not going to change, you need to get away from that, because it's not healthy. So yeah, I'm very sorry about that your situation, and I don't, in these kind of situations, I kind of don't see a way to make it better right now. I just think that you should plan for your future and try to make your future as good as possible, and make sure you have a future by not doing things like cutting. I cannot emphasize that enough. Please. Okay, so we're already to the last one. Yes. So, dear Dymond, my relationship of 4 years just ended, but I can't move on. I had been dating this man starting in my junior year of high school through long distance without telling my parents or anyone but close friends due to his race and their ignorance when it comes to interracial relationships. However, 3 years later, due to family issues, I decided to run away and live with him. At the time, this was in my mind. This was the only option I had in order to be safe. So he rented out a spot for me, then soon he moved in with me. We returned to my hometown and got our first apartment because I could only take 1 semester off of school. Once we got here, once we got here, he told me he hated it here and basically didn't like it. I found some number, kept texting him, but he claimed it was just a female coworker. But once I kept pressing him, he said he was unhappy in the relationship. We broke up because I love this man with all my heart and I just want him to be happy. He said he didn't feel like anything was happening in the past year. Me moving, then us moving, was organic. That it happened because we had to do it. I quit my job, called my parents, and they came to get all my stuff. After breaking up, I keep up with his phone records to see if suspicions were accurate and to see if he was messing around on me, which he denied when we were talking about how the process of me leaving would go down. I find this bitch who he says has a boyfriend at the same job they both work at is calling him at 10 p.m. talking on the phone for 2 hours. I confronted him about it. He asked me to stop spying on him and that he doesn't want a relationship with anyone at the moment. However, when he does, he hasn't closed the door on us. He says I never was the issue. The issue was that he felt he had no choice in the way his life was moving. We have continued talking since we broke up, a month now, but he thinks the best thing he can do for me is to stop communicating. I want him back. What do I do? She would like for me to keep this off camera, but I feel like it's important to include. We got pregnant right during the move back to my hometown and stayed that way until my 4th month of pregnancy, when we decided we couldn't take care of a baby until I graduated from college. I had an abortion in March with the promise that we would have the rest of our lives to raise our children. I now regret this, the biggest mistake of my life. Okay, I didn't read that at first when I even chose this email, but now I'm even more happy that I chose this email. So, girl, your parents didn't like him because of his race. So I feel like that's already issue number 1. So, in order to even be with him, like in a realistic kind of way, you have to run away to try to be with him, and then since you could only take 1 semester off, you guys had to move back, and he like moved you in a spot, which is very reputable in my opinion. Like, damn, niggas is renting out spots and moving bitches in. Like, okay. So basically everything else you said in the email. Let me say, I am very sorry about your relationship ending, but I am going to say I think that you need to move on, and it seems like it's going to get to an unhealthy place, and here's why. I feel like he's being honest with you and he's telling you, look, I feel like all this shit's happening and it's not my choice. This shit's just happening and I'm just kind of moving along with it. And I feel like that's an understandable statement. He had to move, y'all had to move in order to kind of keep any type of relationship because y'all were long distance just because of his race. And I feel like that's already putting him in a kind of a shitty situation, because it's hard when it's about race. It's not something you can do anything about, you know, which sucks, and it's your family. So it kind of like forced his hand from the start of y'all even moving. You kind of forced his hand basically. And I feel like you talked to him about it, and I feel like maybe he possibly even tried to like be happy, like tried to just do what it is that you want him to do, and it just didn't work. And I feel like he was honest with you about that, and he told you like, look, I don't want to do this, like this is not what I want to do. I feel like I don't have a choice, like, you know. And I definitely feel like that is a fair thing for him to say. Was talking on the phone to a girl, so you went through the phone records. You're getting a little crazy now. Even if you guys were still talking, if you guys weren't living together anymore, I don't think you should have been checking the phone records and stuff. And I damn sure don't think you should have confronted him about any phone, anything, if y'all wasn't together. Even if y'all were together for a long time, if y'all broke up and if it was as serious as you moved out, like y'all moved type shit, I feel like you definitely should not be going through no phone records or anything like that. I feel like that's a little much, and it definitely come off a little crazy. I know if I was in that position, it would definitely make me feel like, okay, well, like, I told you what it was and you still doing too much. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's just my opinion. I feel like the phone records thing is definitely a no-no. And if I would check his phone records, just keep it to myself. Get your own closure for yourself. You don't need to keep going to him because he's already kind of told you what it was. So for you to keep going back and back and back and asking all these questions, it's like, okay, well, either way, even if he is talking to another girl, he already told you he didn't want to be with you right now, you know, or with anybody right now. So I feel like you should kind of take that, because you kind of don't have a choice, because you can't force him to be with you, you know. So I definitely feel like you should take his answer and run with it, and don't keep trying to push and push and push to get him back, because what you're going to end up doing is pushing him to the next bitch's arms, and that's not what you want to do. This small bit at the bottom, I am sorry. I hope you're not offended that I included it in, but I do think it's important for people to hear, and I think it's important for you to hear on camera. That little portion kind of sounds like you're saying that you wish you would have kept the baby so that y'all would still be together, and that is the complete wrong logic of anything that anybody ever needed to have ever in life. A baby is not a pawn. A baby is not something that will keep a man with you. A baby is not none of that. A baby is a human, a person that you're bringing into the world, and if you felt like you weren't able to take care of a baby, then you did not need to have a baby. Why? Because once again, we don't ask to be in our families. We're just put here. It's unfair for anyone to think that just because maybe if they would have had a baby, that maybe it would have kept their family together, and maybe that's what they should do, and maybe no. That is the wrong reason to have a child. You should have a child because you want to have a child. You should have a child because you love that person, and it's time to start a family. That's why you should be having kids. You should not have kids to try to keep a man. And the fact that you're kind of saying you regret not having the baby and now he's gone, but you said you weren't able to take care of it. It sounds like you wanted to have a baby just to try to maybe hang on to him, and that's not the right way to be thinking. And if that's the way that you're thinking, you don't need to be in a relationship either, because you need to just work on yourself for a little bit. And I think that might be a good idea. My advice to you will be to move on from this situation and take it as a learning experience. Maybe chill. Don't try to get back with him. Don't try to do no relationship stuff, and just maybe reevaluate yourself and really get to know yourself. You said you've been dealing with this person for a long time, so maybe it's just time to take a step back and take a break and really look inside of yourself, and also look at your situation and see, is this really a person that you want to continue talking to? Maybe not. He said he feels like it's best for y'all to stop communicating. I'm not gonna lie, I definitely am gonna have to agree with him. For once, I feel like the guy in the Dear Dymond actually has a clear head. I'm very sorry. This is not me coming down on you or anything like that. I'm not trying to be mean, but I do think that you should definitely take a step back and reevaluate yourself and just, you know, love yourself. Love yourself, girl. Those are all the little stories, advice, whatever that you guys wrote in. Once again, if you guys want to be featured in Dear Dymond, then you have to email the email in the description box. It is right at the top of the description box. It's contact.dymond@gmail.com. Make sure that you put Dear Dymond in the email, whether it's in the beginning or the subject line, whatever. And everything is anonymous. It's always going to be anonymous. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Comment down below your guys' opinions or whatever on the situations. Please do not be mean or hateful. I will have to block you if you are. So yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.